What would you do if the person you loved most in the world, gentle, warm, someone you had known your entire life, suddenly became a complete stranger? Not gradually, not with any warning, just different, unrecognizable, screaming at something only she could see, and then minutes later, back to herself again, calm, soft, with no memory of any of it. This happened to my grandmother, and I still don't have a clean explanation for what I watched that afternoon. This was February of 2024, just before the holidays. I was 17, had recently finished middle school without qualifying for the local high school program, and my health had been giving me problems that kept me from finding work. I was home most of the time, which wasn't where I wanted to be, but it was where I was. My grandfather on my father's side had passed years earlier. My grandmother Dorothy had been living alone in the countryside ever since. When my mother landed a new job that spring, we decided Dorothy should come live with us in town. She could help around the house, and we could keep an eye on her. She was the most hardworking person I have ever known. After my grandfather got sick, she ran the entire farm herself. Every crop, every chore, every caregiving task, all of it, alone for years. By the time she came to live with us, her legs ached constantly from decades of labor. But Dorothy never complained. That's just who she was. One afternoon, my mother came home during her lunch break. Dorothy had already made a meal and was just stepping inside when she mentioned her legs were hurting. That part wasn't unusual. What happened next was, her voice shifted. The words kept coming, but the tone underneath them changed, gradually, then all at once, into something like weeping. And then she was crying. Actually crying, tears running down her face. I had never seen Dorothy cry, not once, not even when her legs were at their worst, not even at my grandfather's funeral. My mother rushed over and helped her onto the couch. Dorothy sat there, one hand on her leg, tears streaming, with an expression of grief so deep it looked like it belonged to a different person entirely. My mother and I exchanged a look. I said we should take her to a doctor. Mom nodded. Grandma, come on, and let's go get you checked out. Dorothy launched off the couch like something had fired through her. She screamed. She flailed her arms. She recoiled from us like we had said something terrifying. Her eyes went wide and fixed on something neither of us could see. My mother, to her credit, moved fast. She called our neighbor, Aunt Carol, a nurse at a local clinic who also had some familiarity with things that fell outside medical explanation. Aunt Carol told her to find a cigarette, light it, take a drag, and blow the smoke gently toward Dorothy. My mother did exactly that. Dorothy's screaming slowed. Her body stopped fighting. She went still. And then Dorothy opened her eyes and saw my mother blowing smoke toward her. She lost control all over again. My mother threw the cigarette across the room and switched to just holding Dorothy's hands and talking to her softly. Then she called my great-uncle, Robert, and asked him to come over. While Robert was on his way, Dorothy settled again. She sat up slowly, looked around the room, and asked what had happened. My mother told her she'd been very upset. Dorothy shook her head. She said she didn't remember any of it. Her leg pain had eased, but her face felt numb on the left side. The moment Robert knocked on the front door, Dorothy went under again. She pressed her hand to her left cheek and wailed so loudly the neighbors could have heard it. Robert walked in, sat down across from her, and in the no-nonsense tone of a man who had lived a long time, he told her firmly, "Dorothy, stop this. You're frightening the children." She quieted. Slowly, she came back again. And again, no memory of what had just happened. Robert called my cousin Patricia, who understood these matters better than any of us. Patricia said to burn incense in the house and see how things developed. By 4 p.m, Robert confirmed Dorothy seemed stable and headed home. After he left, she showed no further signs of anything unusual. That evening, Patricia called my mother with one final instruction. At 9 o'clock, go outside, burn a sheet of paper at a specific location, and when you turn to walk back, do not look behind you, under any circumstances. My mother didn't want to frighten me, so she went alone. Whatever she did that night, it worked. Dorothy has been completely herself ever since. No outbursts, no memory gaps, no screaming at things the rest of us can't see. Just the same gentle, hardworking woman she has always been, making breakfast for the family every morning without complaint. I've turned this over in my mind more times than I can count. Maybe it was stress. Dorothy had uprooted her entire life, left the home she'd kept for decades, moved into a small apartment in town with people she loved, but whose pace of life was completely different from her own. That kind of displacement does things to a person, especially someone who had carried as much as she had for as long as she had. Or maybe something else came into our home that afternoon, something that found her in a moment of vulnerability and used it. I don't know, I genuinely don't know. What I do know is that she sat across from me at breakfast the next morning, handed me a bowl of oatmeal, and smiled at me exactly the way she always has. And for now, that's enough.